Murli dated 31st of March 1988, a godly scheme to accumulate the two powers of words and actions. So yesterday we read that how Baba was seeing that how the moths get sacrificed their life on the flame, and he also mentioned the one who love Baba by heart versus the one who loves Baba by brain. He gave us some reflection points, and towards the end Baba was mentioning that how much our attention is towards the remembrance. So today let's study this last paragraph and then we'll continue with the power of words. So Baba mentions Babdata saw that the majority of children pays attention to making remembrance powerful, and they have the zeal and enthusiasm to make their remembrance easy and constant. They are moving forward in this, and they will continue to move forward. They have good love for the Father, and this is why they pay good attention to remembrance. Because the basis of remembrance is love, all are very good when it comes to having a heart to heart conversation with the Father. However, sometimes the show a stem eye that they get upset with one another and then complain to the Father, why don't you put this right? That eye is filled with the love and affection, but when they come into the gathering, when they start to perform actions and interact with the family, then there is a lot of wastage of words in the gathering. That is, it is evident in the power of words. Because the power of words is wasted, there is a reduction in the power of special ingredient to make others experience the revelation of the Father. They like the things they hear, that is something else. For you, repeat the things that Father has said, and so they would surely like those things. However, because the power of words is wasted, power is not accumulated. That is why there is still a delay in spreading the sound of the revelation of the Father. There are too many ordinary words being spoken. Instead, let there be Lokik words, words of angels. This year, underline this specially. So, Baba is mentioning, let there be Alokik words. Alokik words are words of angels. This year, underline this specially. You saw Father Brahma, his words were the words of angels. Few words are sweet words, words that are fulfilled, words that are fruitful and accurate, whereas words that don't are not fruitful and wasteful. Even if the words are for business activities and you do have to speak for activities, do not let there be too many words. You now have to accumulate power. Just as you accumulate power of mind with remembrance, and when you sit in silence, you accumulate the power of thoughts in the same way. So, so accumulation of mind and remembrance, Baba is matching that with the power of thoughts. Accumulate the power of words as well. Baba will tell you something amazing. In Bab Dada's world, there is everyone's saving box. You also have a box that is Baba's box in your centers. Do you not? In the Father's world, there are the children's saving boxes. Throughout the day, each one of you saves and accumulates the three powers of thoughts, words, and deeds. And there is your saving box. There is a full account of how much power of the mind, power of words, and power of actions you have accumulated. You also send an account of your savings and expenditure, do you not? So Babdada was looking at your savings boxes. What would have emerged? So Baba is mentioning that he is keeping saving box of each child, just like we have saving box or Baba's Bhandari at each center. And what is that saving box? Power of the mind, words, and power of actions that we have accumulated. So what did Babdada see? How much would have been saved in your account? Each one's result is individual. Many boxes were full, but they contained a lot of pennies. When little children save pennies in their savings box, their box gets very heavy. So Baba especially saw this a great deal in the result of words. You pay attention to remembrance, but you don't pay much attention to the words. So Baba is mentioning that the boxes, many boxes were full. They had a lot of pennies. Because of pennies, many boxes become heavy. So Baba says, Baba specially saw this a great deal in the result of words. You pay attention to remembrance, but don't pay much attention to the words. So this year, create a scheme to save the powers of both words and actions. The government also creates various saving schemes, does it not? Of course, all of you know that the main one is the power of thoughts. However, along with the power of thoughts, words and actions are also specially connected because they are clearly visible in relationships and connections. Thoughts are incognito, whereas these are clearly visible. The method for saving your words is speak less, speak sweetly, and speak respectfully. कम बोलो, मीठा बोलो, आदर से बोलो. Father Brahma made the young and the old belong to him by speaking to them with respect. The more you move forward using this method, the sooner the rosary of victory will be ready. So, what are you going to do this year? As well as service, you specially have to accumulate these powers while doing service. All of you have made the best of all plans of service. Even now, the service that is taking place everywhere according to the plans, whether in Bharat or abroad, is good, and you will continue to do good service. Just as you are continuing to move forward with the good wishes of creating a result better than the next. In the same way, in service, let there also be special thought collectively of remaining content with yourself and making and of making others content. Mm. So Baba has in the previous paragraph completed the that scheme and how we accumulate these powers during service. Now Baba is mentioning that importance of contentment. Because that is another important element because of which if you're not content we end up wasting thoughts, words, actions. So he's mentioning that just as we are continuing to move forward with good wishes, let there also be special thought that too collectively of remaining content with yourself and of making others content. स्वयं से संतुष्ट और औरों को संतुष्ट. Because three types of service take place simultaneously. One, contentment of with the self, which is self service. Second, contentment of the gathering, which is service of the family. Three, serving souls of the world through language, words, or any other method. Three types of service take place at the same time. Whatever program you create has three types of service. So, what are the service? Contentment with the self, with the family, and third one Baba is mentioning serving souls with the word through language, that is words. Whether program you create has three types of service merged in it, just as you pay attention to this method and result of world service, in the same way, for the other two types of service of the self and gathering, let all three thoughts, words, and actions be free from obstacles. For only them would it be said that you have number one success. So Baba is mentioning just like we pay attention to the method and result of the world service, in the same way, the other two types of service of the self and gathering. Hmm. So the third type of service we are paying attention. Hmm. What is the third types of service? I just highlight this part so that we yes this much. So serving the souls through language and other methods we are quite good. In addition, was mentioning that have contentment towards the self and the family. To be successful in all three means to claim a number. This year, let there be success at the same time in all three types of service. Let these drums beat. If the drums only beat in one corner, the sound does not reach the ears of Kumbhakarna, that is sleeping giant. When these drums beat in all directions, all the Kumbhakarans will then awaken. At present, one wakes up and other one does not. Other one goes to sleep. When the second one wakes up, the third one goes to sleep. They wake up a little and say that this is good, and then they go back to sleep. However, only when they wake up and say, "O Prabhu, how wonderful God is," in words or in their minds, and claim their inheritance of liberation, will completion take place. Only when they awaken can they claim their inheritance of liberation. So, do you understand what you have to do? Be cooperative with one another, be protecting others. Sorry, by protecting others, you will protect yourself. That is, you will be able to save your account. However closely you bring others into contact with plans of service, that much result of service will be visible in a practical way. However closely you bring others into contact with plans of service, that much result of service will be visible in a practical way. You have been doing the service of giving a message, and you must continue to do that. But this year, you mustn't just give the message, you also have to make them cooperative. That is, bring them into close contact. You get them to fill in a form, and that will continue anyway. But this year, move forward. Get them to fill in a form, but do not leave it at that. Bring them into relationship. Create plans depending on the type of persons to form a connection with them. Even if you have small programs, let this be your aim. Do not make them cooperative just for 1 hour or just while they fill in a form, but with cooperation, bring them close, develop a connection or relationship with them. Then, as you progress further, the form of service will change. You won't have to do anything for yourself. People who are in relationship with you will speak on your behalf. You will just have to give blessings and drishti, just as nowadays they make Shankaracharya sit on a chair. In the same way, they will sit you on a chair of being worthy of worship, not on a silver chair. They will become instruments to prepare the field, and you will just have to sow seeds with your drishti. Speak a few words of blessings, and then revelation will take place. So we actually see this now. Earlier, we had to visit different places for service, but now people themselves come. They offer us the stage, and all that we need to do is just go there, speak a few words, and do seva. So Baba tells Father will be visible through you, and with the experience of Father's drishti and his love, the sound of revelation will begin to be heard. So we'll pause here. Afterwards, after this part, Baba is congratulating about the golden jubilee of service because from 1937, it's like 1987, 88. So almost 50 years completed. But let's pause here and let's reflect on what Baba has told us so far. Om Shanti. Okay, so we can now start sharing.
Om Shanti. So
Yes,
Baba
Baba.
says to save the words. The power of words must be saved. So many words are spoken, ordinary words and the wasteful. So the power is reduced there. So the words, that lose power, right? People may take it what they hear, but they don't have that experience of the Father. So Baba brought the example of Brahma Baba, that Brahma Baba used to speak only less, but was few words, but sweeter words and very fruitful and accurate words. So we also have to become essential. So that's where Baba says, will become, those words will become angelic words. So main focus would be to reduce the wastage, finding the wastage and coming into the best. Yeah, this is one of the takeaway for me from this Murli. Thank you.
So, yes, very true. Regarding this piggy bank thing which Baba mentioned, so I just remembered one story. We have this story in the Touch the Light book, which is syllabus by Youth Wing for students of standard 7th, 8th, and ninth. So, I- and while reading that story, I was not sure that it is like from the Avek Murli only, but now I could get that connection. So I'll quickly tell that it's like to teach small kids the importance of telling good words. So they tell then that story that once a child had a lot of uh, wish to get to see the golden world because he had heard about the paradise and heavens, but he wanted to see that, and he was very true. So once it so happened that it is said in that story that God gives comes in his dreams, and he gives him a box, and he tells that if you accumulate, if you do good actions, and if your piggy box becomes full, I will definitely show you, take you to the heaven. And the next day when he wakes up, he actually sees that the box which was given to him automatically is, rather it is available in front of him. So the boy goes and he speaks good words, respectful words to teachers and things like that. And when he comes back home, he sees that his box is little bit filled with a few coins automatically. And likewise, he is very happy. And one day it so happens that he get into some fight with some of his school friends and something. And when he comes back, he sees that some coins are have been removed. So he understood that the box does not just even fill the box. The coins does not just fill the box, but it also gets reduced if he does some bad actions. And from that day, he paid a lot of attention on just focusing on the good deeds, not doing any bad actions. And then ultimately, of course, couple of days he used to miss, and then the coins used to get less. But since his attention was more on the good deeds, the box started filling up. And then, yes, once it was completely filled, he got to see what he really wanted in the dreams. So I just narrated this in a very small way. It is a story, but when I read this Murli, I could just connect this with that. That probably the author must have taken inspiration from this Avek Murli, and that is why Baba also gave that example of we accumulating things, and at Baba's place, the Vatan, we are making sure that our boxes are getting filled or getting empty. And I think with this in mind, they have even made one good wishes bank earlier, wherein each deed you do, there was a project of Yagya, 7 billion acts of goodness. 7 or 6, I don't remember that. One is a different one, 6 billion minutes of peace. That was a different project. But later on, from US, I think there was a project of good deeds, wherein each day you do, you fill the number of deeds which you have done. Even this year, I think Gujarat has took that project on 21st of December 2025. So it's a good way. I think we can even connect this with the projects of Baba Seva, and for ourselves also we can keep this account that how many words we spoke were of good importance. Another thing which I could recollect, when we have this annual meetings or any other meetings in Madhuban, so many of us keep on, speaking a lot. Sometimes we justify our points so that we make things clearer. But dadis, whenever we saw them in the meeting, they never spoke out of turn. They used to just speak whenever they were asked to, and whatever they spoke, even if those words were just very few, people patiently heard them. So, uh, first I used to feel like why dadis are not participating very actively into the meetings, but then they were listening very carefully, and whenever any decision was to be made, or maybe they were asked to be speaking, they used to speak. So this made me understand that sometimes speaking too much may not be really relevant, but speaking a few words at the right point of time makes a huge difference. May that be anywhere in a Lokik family or in Lokik family. So, like there is also saying still, I'm a man of few words. The lesser the words are, the more um, impact it has, the more it becomes like a blessings. So it is worth considering how many words we take to express something to someone. Can we just do that in fewer words, or we have to keep on speaking a lot to make things clearer to others? So this is something which we can consider to check today.
Om Shanti Prafulbhai.
Yes, Gijavan.
Just 6 inches long, they say. But this is one organ of your body which has no bones even, but still it can break hearts. You need to punch someone to break his bone. But this is one organ, the tongue, which has no bones, but it can break hearts to pieces, break bonds, and break relationships. This is what we were taught when we were young, in our moral science, I remember. And even to say, the fools, they rely on their tongue. They rely, the more they speak, the more they brag, the more they are dominating. But the wise men are not like that. They try to control the mind. And sometimes our elders used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just keep it in your heart. Think whatever you want, but say only what is nice. I remember many more and all like this, when we were young. And when we came to Bamba, just that kind of slogan poster which was given, speak less, speak sweet, and speak little, speak less, speak softly, and all. And so much more was added to it later by Baba in the Murlis. Soch ke bolo, tol mol ke bolo, and Sar mein bolo. There were many of these, though Baba is talking about the scheme here, there were many Murlis where he says, what happens when you really speak less? your time is saved, your energy is saved, and you're talking actually from the mind. बट एज यू वर सेइंग अ क्वेश्चन, कभी कभी हमको विस्तार में भी बोलना पड़ता है. सो आई थिंक फॉर दिस यू नीड द राइट वर्ड्स. Instead of talking a sentence, even there may be one word beautiful. If I just say, it makes a lot of things than rather clarifying what is beautiful. So this Vistar Mesar is a debatable question, because when I am speaking the knowledge to people, I want to tell somebody about the cycle or about the ladder, about the goal. So then naturally there Vistar comes. Sar doesn't come. So, according to what Baba's scheme, I took it over here is Vistar mein bolo, lekin alokik bolo. Speak words of angels. That is, I think, one point which Baba has emphasized in this Murli. Let it be the words of an angel, few words, sweet words. Then that is where, accuracy comes, because only when you save that energy of the tongue, the time, you accumulate power. So it's like as if you have saved a few pennies from your shopping. Go and put it in your savings box, that this is what I've saved and my increases. It's something very difficult. But I just had one question for you in that paragraph which you read, Praful Bhai. See, I'll tell that paragraph. All are very good in heart of conversation. Sometimes they even show a stern eye, and then they complain to the father. Why don't you put this right? That eye is filled with love and affection, but when they come into the gathering, they start to act and behave among the family. There is lot of wastage of words. So can you just say what is this wastage of words in the gathering? That paragraph sounded a little too hard to understand. Then Baba continues about how the power of speech is wasted. That one thing, what is that Baba is mentioning? When we come into the gathering, we start to act and behave among the family, then there is wastage of words. Taking a BK family in mind, could you just throw some light on it?
Yeah, how I interpret that is that when we speak to Baba, like even other than this also, whenever we do yoga, we think of the best. We would do this, we would do that, which is good. And we tell Baba, Baba, you take care of these things. But actually, when we go into the gathering, even for that matter, our Lokik place, wherever we go, we forget about our probably our conversation with Baba, or he might take things, and we just take complete control ourselves. Meaning that we start speaking so much or lose up that in spirit of the meditation which we had with Baba, due to which we end up spoiling relationship or we end up speaking too much. So what we have spoken to Baba or thought of any situation to be done in a similar way, we actually end up doing something else altogether. So not only here, but this sentence which Baba is mentioning, even otherwise, at Amrit Vela, we plan so many things to be done for the day, but we end up doing something else. Maybe because we are not used to doing that, or situation demands such thing. There could be any reason, but I think Baba is just mentioning that contrast. Anyone else has something else to add? You can add your interpretation as well.
How can the power of speech be waste here? That was just one thing, because I see I have to speak when I have to speak. I have to be silent when I have to be silent. If you have to speak and you just put on a silence badge and sit, just like saying when there is seva, you go and sit in yoga. And I think that is
No,
disservice.
so no, no. So for example, like it's not like we have to be silent, but how much we speak. So for example, if matas go for a seva, like maybe they have a kitchen seva. maybe preparing bhog or preparing Brahma Bhojan. And they plan initially that, okay, today we'll go to the seva, we'll remember, we will do seva in Baba's remembrance. But what happens when they go into the kitchen? Other matas are having a small chat and they also get into that gossip. So no matter that seva is completed, but due to that gossip or due to that chit chat which they're having, maybe that was very fruitful for them at that point of time. They enjoyed that thing. But ultimately, what they wanted to really do that in Baba's remembrance, it couldn't happen. And that becomes a waste then. So it's not like one doesn't have to speak at all. Of course, we are into the gathering, we have to. But then the kind of words which we want to speak, the control which we should have been had during that seva. I've just given one example of this bandar. It could be any seva for that matter, anything in the gathering for that matter. If I'm going for a meeting, if I prepare that, okay, today I will be having good wishes for everybody, but actually the discussion goes too much heated and I forget my soul consciousness. I just become body conscious and start speaking a lot. So then that becomes a waste, right? So of course, this requires a lot of attention, rehearsal, um, lot of understanding because Baba, as Baba mentioned, we actually pay attention maybe for remembrance because even Baba tells that in daily Murli कि मुझे 8 घंटा याद करो or maintain your yoga chart and things like that. So we might remember Baba during Amrit Vela, Numasham, maybe before going to bed. Other times we have that schedule, but we actually don't have much attention on the power of words, on the actions. That is where Baba is wanting to highlight that no doubt you must be doing good remembrance. But if you end up speaking at the times when you don't have to speak too much, then you have just wasted all your power of remembrance as well. So why not pay attention there as well? Am I really speaking the words which I need to, or I indulge myself into long conversations over phone, over WhatsApp, when I meet others? Because even those things are draining out energy from me.
But don't you think? See, this is visible what you're speaking. Power of speech, it's visible. And that same tongue, it can redeem what it has spoken by saying sorry. And it's lost. But I feel that invisible, incognito way of thinking negative, what is there in the mind, is a much more severe arrow than the power of speech. See, maybe those people, they don't know the right words. They are in the language power they don't have. So without knowing the language power, they speak and they don't know what is that language they understood. I sometimes feel the people who speak do not speak out of intention. There is no that kind of intention. It's भाषा नहीं जानते हैं. Like an English man curtsies his sentence with sorry, thank you, may I, thank you, and all. That's what even Baba is saying here. No, you have to fill it with sabhyata. Maybe they didn't know, but can you immediately they say sorry. So don't you think it's just the power of speech itna kharab nahi jitna power of negative thoughts in your mind, that incognito weapon?
Yeah, you are right. Actually, basis is thoughts, and even Baba acknowledges that over here. But uh, until things are at thoughts level, there is not too much destruction. But when that thoughts manifest into words and actions, so for example, if somebody comes to your house, or maybe somebody's in yajna doing some seva which is not that good, and you see that it is not good, but seeing and that thought is also generated, oh, this person is not doing that well. But till that time, it's okay. Things are not bad. But if we, at wrong point of time, if we are coming into words and pinpointing that person, hey, this is something which you're doing is not right, this and that, immediately that person will get pinched. So until it's thoughts, there is not much destruction. Of course, even vibrations works, but still to some extent things are, there are so many thoughts which come to us on a daily basis, maybe to murder someone or to speak bad about something, but we don't manifest all those thoughts. But as soon as we put them in words or actions, we then become even legally responsible, even in the laws. So yes, if we come into words and actions, it is much more severe. Of course, the basis are thoughts. Thoughts ही अच्छे हो जाते तो words and actions में आएंगे ही नहीं. But if someone is not really able to work on the thoughts too much, at least don't put things into words and actions, which I think Baba is wanting to say, because that will have a more penalizing effect if things go the reverse way.
Yeah, I got it. I think I just remembered one thing. It's like spluttered mustard. Like the mustard splatters and gone, you can't collect it. But in the thoughts, as you said, it's not so severe. You have not yet heated the gas, so the mustard is not spluttering. That's why even in this Murli, Baba, when he said alokik, it means we have to sink inside, think, and then we have to speak. I, as comparison, okay, I agree with you. This is more hurtful, but even thoughts. Thank you, brother.
Anyone else would like to add anything?
Shanti brother,
So,
good morning.
Yes.
Um, the last statements when Baba mentions your drishti and your presence itself will make a big difference. That seems to be a lot powerful, and we do see it happening in Lokik life. But I don't know how Baba knows this already. Baba mentions it so beautifully. It's only your drishti that is needed to sprout that entire seed of that soul to manifest and go through the process of gyan. That sounded very powerful and profound. Thank you.
Yes, and
Shanti.
actually, that is where sometimes even we miss out. Sometimes when we go for seva, uh, it is not necessary that we have to be actually on the stage. But even when we see those souls in that powerful drishti, in that powerful stage, that itself does a lot of seva. So, sometimes we go into these big gatherings of centers or at Madhuban, we have programs. And I sometimes tell myself, I don't have any role there. We have people managing the registrations, we have people managing the stage, we have very good speakers on the stage. So, what is my role? Why should I go? But then, if we think the other way, my presence, my drishti, my vibrations will create seva. And actually, that does, this speech and other things are just a physical element. So, then when I realized this part, then, whenever I go anywhere, I don't compare like, okay, I don't have any seva, maybe I'm not allotted this or that. I, in fact, think that, okay, I have a lot of chance to do seva by drishti or to do seva by vibration. And even other than this, any other seva getting allotted, maybe if I'm getting a physical seva as well, that seva is of secondary importance. First importance is how my stage is towards the soul, anyone who is taking benefit from that seva. And that is the reason why Baba today, very interestingly, the three types of seva he mentioned in the Murli, he actually first give preference to contentment with the self, which is self service. Second, he mentioned contentment of the gathering, which the service of the family, which is service of the family. And then third, he told serving souls of the world through language of words or any other method. So before even words or actions, the first two things he mentioned is the contentment of self and contentment of the family. Because without myself not getting content, it will not really make an impact on whatever seva I'm doing outside. Likewise, the second contentment of the family is important before I really serve through words or actions. So this is very interesting. Of course, he tells that all three take simultaneously, but then we just focus on the third element. What about the first two? So yeah, brother, whatever you mentioned, it's very much in line with, and Baba is very beautifully narrated that here.
Even there are two more service plans which Baba has mentioned. I think I've seen you doing that, Praful Bhai. When a program is going on, you never sit in one place. I've seen you either talking to somebody unrelated or you do something, but your eyes are somewhere else. I have noticed it. See, that is what Baba has even. See, the two service plans which he's given. One, when he speaks about beating the drum in all directions, just see the relevance which he has taken over here. Why does he speak about waking up all the Kumbhakarnas? So that relevance also I liked over here. That is, those people should accept it. Secondly, that form filling. That was very one thing. And first time somebody comes to God's house, the way the form is filled, the drishti of the person asking you just don't say, okay, fill a form and you go away and do on your own. That person doesn't know what to write, no. And how that brings in a relationship, in a connection, and then cooperationship. And again, when he comes back after a day or two, that same love or that blessing card, whatever you give, that kind of magnetism which you have to pull, just giving blessings and drishti, and how they will glorify you. Even I like that, like they think you are Shankaracharya. That was,
Hmm.
and they make us, so well, that analogy, if you see how Baba has taken, this is good for the people who are in such kind of service. And when they look at you, they will see Shiv Baba through you. That was, I think, for me a nice. We thinking how revelation, and all. This was shared. I just wanted to add away. I'll stop then. There is a media brother in Palakkad who just shared a class with us. His name is Gopalakrishnan. He gave a beautiful way of how really, being a media person, he tries to bring the people who want to come to the Gyan through media and through even drishti. He had given a very nice experience on stage. So I just remembered that. So these two paragraphs are for the people who really want to turn the service into a revelation. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so thanks for all those wonderful sharings. Let us now spend a minute to just visualize our day today. I will be interacting with many souls. Maybe those are family members, office, friends. And while conversation, can I be concise? Can I be precise? Choose the right words. So remember any five of those people whom you will be having a conversation, and let's just rehearse the words which we will be using in those conversation. Along with the words, will be we will be also adding the element of contentment of the self and contentment of the person whom we are speaking. So in next 1 minute, let's visualize, let's rehearse those five people whom we remember. If they are not five, it could be even three. Okay, so we will give the result to Baba before going to sleep. How was our interpretation and application of Murli worked out for us today? And let's meet tomorrow to complete the last part of the Murli. Thank you so much everyone for joining. Have a great day. Om Shanti.